Hey everybody, it's Coffee with Mike, your fractional CMO, coming online. We're a little late today because of a few events that popped up this morning. So we wanted to share with you how to build a strategy for seasonal businesses. Uh, some good examples are like ski resorts, anything around Christmas season, Halloween season, big holiday stuff. There are seasonal stores that could use a good strategy to make sure that they're getting peak sales during their peak season. And then, of course, there are some other things that they can also do it during their off seasons that would also bring brand into and getting set up for success for sales later on when peak season does come. So um, some of the challenges and opportunities you probably be looking at, there's fluctuating demand. Um, there's always staffing issues. Like I know some of the out here in Las Vegas, we have water parks, and during the summer is when they have to staff up. So that becomes an interesting challenge as well. During the wintertime, they don't really do anything. It's pretty much closed. And the idea of that is to create a strategy that will help maximize opportunities for revenue during the time that seasons are open. That takes a little bit of pre-planning. It takes a little post-planning because you definitely want to be able to measure before, during, and after. Um, some of the, didn't even think about this, summer camps. I used to go to one, YMCA summer camp back in Maui. They had one out in up on the northeast side of the island. That was a lot of fun too. So one of the things you want to do is you want to make sure you set up some SMART goals. Again, it goes back to the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound whole thing, making sure that you got stuff that you can actually look at. I've seen people put those on whiteboards. I've seen them put them just in, project management, certain ones that you can set up goals like KPIs, or you can set up just measurements and figure out through reports whether or not you're meeting those goals in a timely fashion. You want to make sure that they're aligned with business objectives. I mean, everybody knows it's always about the bottom line, but there are other things too. Sometimes there's the corporate good programs that are part of objectives that need to be done. And to kind of really step to the side real quick, the way I used to work with one of the guys that was our CMO for the tech company that I was a part of, we had our discussion. He says, I like to make everything run from objectives to goals to strategies to tactics in that order. So you'll always want to make sure that whatever you're setting up as far as your goals are concerned are in alignment with the objectives, and it makes it a little easier to create a strategy to figure out what you're going to be doing and where. Make sure you're doing your research. Make sure you know who your target is. It was very interesting. I had a conversation last week, and someone had asked me if I knew the market for a specific business, and it was a sub business of an umbrella company, and I hadn't gotten that far to it. And then I thought about it, and I was like, I'm gonna go dig. And I did. I went and did some research and figured out, who's the target market, who are they looking for to show up at their particular business to patronize their service and their experiences. And it was interesting, when you actually go digging like that, but it gives you an idea of who you're going to be talking to, who you're going to be marketing to, what kind of messaging you're going to want to put out there. How do you want to align your brand values with, or sharing it with the market that you're trying to get a hold of. You want to make sure that you understand who your competitors are at the same time. If you're specialized enough and big enough by word of mouth, that's still a consideration. Here's why. You get too big, you have a tendency to get lazy. If you become too much of a brand in someone's mind, it becomes an opportunity for a smaller, hungry, leaner brand. Case in point, I remember this campaign that DHL did. And I believe it was Hello, Fat and Sassy, Meet Lean and Hungry. And at the time, DHL was really trying to make a push to break into the logistics market. And competing with behemoths like FedEx and UPS just seemed absolutely impossible. But that one campaign got them a lot of market share. Now, they may not be, as big as UPS and FedEx, but they still have quite a foothold in that specific realm. So understanding who your competitors are and making sure that you have your brand and messaging on point, your goals on point, and understanding what it is that you're after and understanding they're after the same thing. You're gonna have a bit of an easier time figuring out how to keep yourself separated from the crowd and keep yourself unique in the marketplace. A content calendar. So there's a whole bunch of social media people that do this. There's a bunch of influencers out there that share content calendars. You can pick up a content calendar anywhere online. It really depends on how detailed you want to get. You can find templates all over the place. They're free, easy to get. And HubSpot has one that's pretty in-depth. I've used it in the past effectively. If you want something really simple, though, just go find an easy template that you can add in there, the holidays that matter. If you're not sure what the holidays are, everyone has the Google, as a friend of mine likes to say. Go look. There is an app. There's a website online that will tell you every known, partially known, little known, and unknown holiday that's out there. You would be surprised. And the funny thing is that if there's a holiday, there's a following. There's a market that you can go and talk to. I always love National Donut Day because, Dunkin' jumps all over that. Some of you may know this, some of you may not. There's a National Slurpee Day that 7-Eleven promotes every year. They had a campaign where they were encouraging people to share them going in and getting their free Slurpees. You should have seen some of the content that got posted. I think one person posted that they had brought in a cooler, like that you put sodas and stuff, and they filled that up with this. Obviously, they ran the Slurpees out of the juices or the Slurpee. They ran out. It was hilarious to watch, and it was very effective. And to this day, I still get notifications on the 7-Elevens. Everybody and social media still talks about it. It was a good campaign that they did. So find a content calendar. Start writing down the relevant holidays to your specific season. See if there are any ancillary ones. Everybody knows Christmas in July. While there might not be, if you're a seasonal business, while there might not be anything for you to do in July per se, you could still be talking about Christmas coming up later in the year. You could be doing pre-sales for something if you had a ticketed event. There's all kinds of ways you can maneuver messaging to be able to ensure that your peak season is also peak sales. Make sense? Make sure that you're leveraging your digital media, social media, content creation, email marketing, pay-per-click advertising, blogging, article writing. Some of the things that people do here on LinkedIn. Some of us put out a lot of content to go ahead and share with you information. Why not? Info's free. If I don't tell you, you're going to find it somewhere else, right? So the idea is to share as much as we can with you. Well, you want to do the same thing with your marketplace. If you're a summer camp, you want to tell everybody about what you're doing. Maybe you're doing a community initiative. You want to tell the community about that. Let them know that you have that going on. If it's a ski resort, what things are you doing in the off season that's pro community, supporting whatever community your initiatives are supporting, right? Because that keeps the brand top of mind. Remember, although you're seasonal, you still have that challenge of staying at the top of mind. I wish I got to go find that study. There was a psychological study done showing that conscious thoughts move to the subconscious in about 17 days. Now that's a lot to deal with. I mean, but if you're putting out a newsletter once a month, and an email just touching your database, that can be done within 17 days at a time. And as long as you're consistent in touching people at a certain time, there's a tendency to not be thrown into the spam box. Obviously you have to use the right kind of email marketing, proper subject lines, and the right kind of content that engages. Maybe get them to do a survey, maybe get them to write back, maybe share something. And again, these campaigns that you're going to put into this strategy is to invigorate your brand in their brains and other people's brains, their connections, the people beyond them, so that they can talk more about your brand and what they might want to do when they want to go summer camp, mountain bike riding, golfing, cruises, which can also be seasonal. Alaska cruise is always a seasonal one. And I've always admired the cruise lines. They do a pretty damn good job of keeping those boats decently full. And that's a really expensive operation as far as ops costs are concerned, but they do very well. The Alaska cruises are usually very popular, and they start promoting those like early summer. They're always giving people chances to book early because of discounts, because of specials, et cetera, things to think about, right? So make sure you're in touch with your sales department as well. Making sure you're running events. You can do virtual events, you can do in-person events. Events, maybe be at an expo, maybe you can host a networking event. I have a friend of mine's that I'm still waiting for them to do it. They have a very beautiful facility for car detailing. Very institutionally sterile, which makes it very comfortable as far as when you walk in, you're just like, wow, this place is cool. And then they bring the car in and you look at it and go, oh, I get it. This place is clean. My car is going to be clean. Just the way the room is set up. Their brand is easy to remember because when you're taking your vehicle there, it's going to get really well cared for. What I told him was, it's summertime. Why aren't you hosting network events? Oh yeah, we bring the food truck. I'm like, not during summer. Set up a buffet line back there. You already got the space for the bar. Should have seen their thing, and they're like, oh yeah. Since you got this huge honking place and it's freaking cold in here, you could fill this place with about 50 to 60 people. Good solid networking. Have a caterer just put a little buffet line in the back, some finger foods, a nice little bar, have a little DJ doing a little bit of music, or just put up a couple of Beats or JBL speakers, Bluetooth, Spotify or something, and they loved it. They're just like, wow, that's a great idea. I'm like, yeah. There's a group out here called Cigars and Cars. They probably show up. I wonder what that'll do for them. But these are things that you have to think about as you're going through it. You can host events. And the more you do things like this, of course, some businesses, that's not viable. But virtual events, you can do virtual events too. Say you want to educate some people on summer camp events, summer camp activities that you can do at home. Maybe your kids can't make it during the springtime, spring break. But here's some things that we do in the summertime that you can do in the springtime. Out here, we have a place called Lee Canyon. During the summertime, they have mountain bike trails. So they're usually focused on that and showing how they can toggle between the two. When somebody's out there for mountain biking, hey, do you guys ski too? Oh yeah, we ski. You guys should come back. They can do a promotion there. They can hold events, local tournaments. You can come up with small little tournaments for friends and family. You could do fundraising events. There's all kinds of things you can do. But this is, again, to help boost up what's going to be coming for peak season, so people remember you, and you'll have that chance to invite them again, keep them coming back. After all of that, whatever you do, still goes back to the same thing. You want to measure what's going on. How many emails are getting opened? How much traffic has been coming to your website because of the content you've been writing, or the articles you've been writing? Are you doing it on LinkedIn? If you're promoting on LinkedIn, how much I watch my analytics from this to see how it's been growing, and it's been growing, which is really cool. So, I'm not going to stop. The idea of all of this for you is to be able to take a look at the numbers and go, that event was really good for us. We should probably do that again next time. that email didn't perform as well as I wanted it to. Let's take a look at the copy and see if maybe we can't adjust it, or maybe the offer wasn't good enough. Maybe the offer wasn't what we call a Godfather offer, too good to refuse, right? There are certain things that will trigger someone to go, that's actually a good deal. And and it's been small things like 23% off instead of just 20% off. Why 23? Why not just go 25? Well, at that point, it becomes a question of profitability, but at 23%, I could still get you a decent deal. Things like that. Watching your social media, definitely watch your social media. If people are sharing, make sure that you're resharing. I can't remember the profile. There's a group that asks if you post something, put it to your story. They come back and they post it to their story that you posted. So the shareability the kicking it out there by doing that. That's a smart way to do it. When you have people tagging you, and this isn't just whatever platform you happen to be thriving on. It might be Pinterest. It might be you guys probably haven't heard this one in a while. Tumblr, and or the normals, Twitter, Meta, Insta, TikTok, whatever, what have you. But you want to be able to take a look at the analytics of all of those things. Your pay-per-click advertising, the big deal on return on ad spend. What are you getting back? How many views are you actually getting? How many engagements are you actually getting? You want to see all of these things. You want to understand what's performing and what's not. Now, all of this sits in part of this strategy so that you can make sure, again, this just goes back to the same thing. Peak season needs to be peak sales. If you have a seasonal business or any part of your business depends on a particular season, you want to be able to get peak sales during that time. So it's investing in the other times that you either don't have anything going on or you don't have peak sales going on. Like you're getting there, you're almost there, or well enough before so that you know that when you get there, it's going to hit, right? You want to be able to get a plan or strategy in place that will meet those goals. Those are the things that you want to do to be able to design a strategy for a seasonal business. So if you could use some help with that, I am a fractional CMO. I'm happy to sit down and go through a strategy session with you, or at least a discovery call. Feel free to go ahead and message me. My information is also down in the description. You can email me, you can direct message me on LinkedIn, you can shoot a Calendly over and we'll just sit down and we'll chat for a minute. Would love to see how I might be of service to you. But think about those things that I just shared with you and get out there and go make yourself a plan. Go make a strategy. Make it work. Make it good. Stay up, stay safe, stay healthy. Ciao for now.